It's episode 3 time for most seasonal anime, which means you either dropped half your list or are waiting to hear about which anime is a strong contender. And although we currently have a strong set of shows this season, one show has excelled above the rest, so let me try to convince you to watch Princess Principal by Studio 3 Hertz. Despite what the Mao tags say, Princess Principal is a historic spy action series that revolves around 5 girls who attend a private academy whilst also doing espionage in a divided London. Which brings me to the first reason you should watch Princess Principal. The cast is all relatively new. They each bring a fresh and unique voice to each of the characters, and even providing subtle things like age difference. Although professional actors have that assured quality, they can become overused to the point of satire. I mean, just look at how many things Kana Hawazawa is in. One only needs to look at K-On! To understand how amateur performances can be used to a show's benefit, so long as they have a competent director. Speaking of directors, we have two, Masaki Tachibana and Kazuya Nomura. Kazuya Nomura has done work for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and even recently directed the 2015 Ghost in the Shell. Masaki Tachibana has directed shows like Barakamon and Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, and his direction of Princess Principal is phenomenal. From the composition of shots, to framing of characters and locations, to the beautiful use of lighting, the show manages to stand out from the typical bright and washed show styles. And the studio leading this is fresh newcomer Studio 3 Hertz. 3 Hertz has been able to make a name for themselves by having acclaimed series like Dimension W, and their last work, Flip Flappers, was a serious contender for Anime of the Year, even though the sales numbers were less than stellar. Luckily, Studio Arctis has joined as well to help in the animation department when it comes to things like the CG cars in episode 1, as Arctis has had experience with 3D CGI with their highly acclaimed Girls and Panzer series. My only qualm with Studio 3 Hertz is that their storylines can become a little muddled and out of focus. They changed the scriptwriter for Flip Flappers halfway through the series, which is why it's fantastic that they managed to sign on Ichiro Okuji to pen the script for them. Okuji has written the script of Planetes, episodes of Azumanga Daioh, and most famously, he was the original creator and scriptwriter for both seasons of Code Geass. And if there's anyone I want to handle a historic spy action series, it would be the creator of Code Geass. And this isn't the only quality member of staff they have on board. They also have Takashi Sadamatsu handling the editing, with previous ties to Gosek, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Log Horizon. And even beyond the staff working on the show, the actual meat and bones of the show are head and shoulders above everything else this season. Princess Principal rocks the best OP of the season, and the most heartwarming ED as well. Even though the show is incomplete, the OP is already showing signs of hidden meanings and obscure details, which I'm sure will only reveal itself further as the series continues. From reading impressions and reviews of the first couple of episodes, it would seem that there are two major issues that people take up with. Mainly that the scriptwriter also did Kabanari of the Iron Fortress and Guilty Crown, which is fair enough. But from what I've seen so far, I think that the quality of the story and the script is heading towards the Planetes and Code Geass side rather than the Kabaneri side. And of course there's a chance that this just becomes too big and too intricate to the point where it just collapses on itself. But judging the actual show based on what has presented to me gives me hope. Just go watch the ballroom scene in episode 2 if you need convincing. The other major complaint is that they can't deal with the cute girls doing steampunk spy things aesthetic, and thus can't get into it. Which, while it pains me, is something so subjective that I can't really say anything other than that its quality outshines some kind of preconceived notion for anime storytelling. However, I can't act as if animation style and aesthetic hasn't also deterred me from shows, as this season's Made in Abyss is a key example. But beyond me ranting about my favourite show and trying to get you to watch it, I want to bring attention to Studio 3 Hertz and the shows they're making. Considering the sales of their previous shows like Flip Flappers, I was ecstatic to see them even announce a project like this. And I think that on that merit alone we should be looking at it, because even if you are the studio that created Mushishi and Legend of the Galactic Heroes, you can still suffer financially. And I think even if you never watch any of their shows, the anime community as a whole loses something when these great studios go under. Not for making great works, but for not making popular works. I'm Kazimoto. Adios.